all you guys to have a copy?
Sure, just.
I'm Mike Trainor with Mike Trainor Roofing.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. I'm passing out some papers with Consumer Affairs concerning the Contract Registration Act. If you can see yourself, the first, I'm not much of a speaker here, so I apologize, but
Take your time.
it says contractor means a person engaged in a business of making solid home improvements include of corporation, partnerships, associations, any form of business organization, any its operative agents or employees. There's a couple other things you guys can read later on, but basically it means you must have a licensed insurance to be a contractor in the township of Lowell or any other township in the state of New Jersey. Sorry. I've been going through, I guess since June, I did a contracted job because I have a licensed insurance. Somebody stepped into my work later on and did some additional work. They didn't agree with my work was up to proper standards, which it was. Unlicensed, uninsured, this lady happens to be. Since then, I've been contacting the township and many other authorities. The best I can do right now, they told me, from Consumer Affairs is take pictures and then report her, which I have been doing. Which now, by the way, I have two what do you call it, charges against me, harassment for taking pictures, which I will address with Sandman on the 17th or whatever date it is. But I'd like to say that I've been informing the township of this, the construction office, but it seems to be if you're more friendly with them, that's more important than the actual law. And this is what I've been dealing with at this point. I talked to Mr. Ridgway about it. I talked to Gary Playford about it. I talked to Don Art about it. I talked to Lisa about it, zoning. I'm waiting for my OPRs, which is way past due. I'm supposed to get 7 days. It's 3 weeks, which is, you know, to be able to see the permits. I do not. I usually roll with everybody. I like everybody. I know most of these gentlemen here, and they're all, and ladies, whatever. But fair is fair. She cost me $5,800 on also on somebody who came in from the office over here and did inspection and said the work was done wrong, which also put it on the Consumer Affairs a check against my business, which is not true. He went back in and then he said, sorry, I said, you didn't bring your tape measure? And that's when he said, sorry, I didn't know it was your job. It doesn't matter if it's my job or your job or your job. The code's still the same. But in any case, I believe my second, I rode by here the other day to turn on one other OPR. Out front, I see one of the other officials talking to her outside. Then later on, I see another one zoning talking to her outside. It seems to be we're too friendly and not, I'm friends with everybody, and I agree that sometimes things rub a little easier when you're friendly, but the same thing, the law has to go to her also. She's unlicensed, uninsured.
Well, you've had conversation with the manager on this, correct?
One conversation, yes, sir.
And you have hired an attorney, correct?
Only about the, so far about the, because I'm getting charged, because I rode by here to turn the OPRs, she'd be haven't been talking to somebody here. It was another, whatever that charge is. But harassment, whatever that charge is, but harassment can be in. She rides by my restaurant every day. She rides by my shop every day. She came to my shop and then threatened me. I never met the lady until that day, be honest with you. I never knew who she was. I don't care if she does work unlicensed insured. You guys should care. But then when she steps in my circle and then tells me how I'm doing work the wrong way and I'm doing right the work way. I work for 65 builders in the community. I do a lot of work for a lot of gentlemen in here, maybe other gentlemen or ladies or whoever. I do not do the things the wrong way. I do the permits. I do everything I have to do. I try to do things the right way. But when this lady costs me money and defames my name by saying how bad work I do, and then the township allows them to do it, this is where I have a problem with that. She rebuilt a whole house on Birch Ave. She built something on the dunes over in, well, beach or dunes, whatever you call it, over there on Bayshore Road. There's a couple of things going on. I was told from this, the one I just told you, that's the best thing to do is take pictures and turn it in. That's what I did. At this point now, I got harassment charges for that. I don't know what else I'm supposed to do. They said they're not funded to come down and investigate, but she's doing stuff illegally. And to tell the township, which I did also. So I don't know where else I can go from this.
Well, you have a solicitor. You have a lawyer that you hired, correct?
For the harassment at this point, yes.
Yeah, but I mean, I would, you know, if you've been through our solicitor, if you've been through our manager,
Well,
I mean, council's not going to make this kind of a decision here. So.
Right, Mr. Mayor, I'm not really aware of all this stuff. I don't think I was part of the chain of folks he mentioned, but typically my experience has been that the investigation and enforcement of these types of activities, I don't know who he's speaking of, but that's done on a state level, the Department of Consumer Affairs, or
Right.
even at the county prosecutor's office. There are provisions that the local towns aren't the licensing entity. It's the state.
Okay, but when you call me to go get a commercial permit and commercial license, I do it. When you tell me to get a permit in a township or lower, I do it and I pay the fee.
Excuse me, you absolutely can't do that.
Well, she's
You
right,
can't-
though. Protection of the
You can't yell
homeowner.
out in a meeting like that. If you wish to speak, you do it the right way, please.
Well,
Thank you.
She's right. If actually, your home insurance won't cover it when you pull the permit yourself. That is the rule. That's why they do it. That's why they enforce it. Because she's friendly with a bunch of people does not make a difference. I pay my dues. I pay my taxes. I pay my stuff. I have to be treated the same way or equal, and I don't even bid against her. It's not the point. She cost me money and defamed me. What happens is, for guys who do construction, and I know guys who told me they're doing the same thing to me, they have to pay for insurance, license, and everything. If I did it without insurance and license and my workman's comp, which is 40%, I'd be a rich man. But I can't do that. I have to do it the right way to protect everybody, including myself, including the homeowner, including the state. I have to pull the permit so you know we're doing it.
I understand what you're saying. The issue is not going to be, and you've brought it to our attention, and it's got to be passed off
It's
to the
been about a
manager.
year, though. I mean, it's been brought to attention. I didn't want it to go this far. I try not to go this far.
I get that, but I mean, we give it to the manager, and
Okay.
he will look at this and let us know if there's anything we
Well-
need to do, or if there's something that any of the
I'm going to
employees
clear.
need to
I'm going to clear this up. I did it for 9 months. I've been complaining. She says something about harassment. Not only does he have a meeting with her, like the first day, then Gary Playford has a meeting with her outside, and then Lisa has a meeting with her outside. They get a lot of attention for unlicensed, uninsured people right there, and they do it quietly outside, which is unusual to practice business.
Again, what are you specifically asking us to do as a township right now?
Well, the first thing is, I was told from a township, one of your I don't know who's the boss is, but he said my work was done faulty, which he then recanted later on.
And this is like getting convoluted and has to do with employee conduct, and I really think we need to back
I think
out
if
of
we're
this.
going to get into personnel matters,
I think we're not going to get into nothing because that's what happens.
But normally that stuff, Mr. Trainor, is reserved for closed sessions. There are certain formalities. My suggestion.
I called State Inspector Vitale already. He'll come down, I guess.
My suggestion, since you have Mr. Sandman involved, he could.
He's not involved in this case, sir. I just told you about the harassment.
Oh, I thought.
I'll repeat it again, only with the harassment.
I thought you suggested that he was involved.
Suggestion, I didn't say that.
Okay, you have given the information.
Okay.
I'd suggest that you, one more time, maybe perhaps with the manager's
So my-
agreement,
my-
maybe you meet with him. And what I'm saying to you is that you need to put something on paper that basically gives us a clear understanding what you're saying and what you're asking for.
All right.
Because it has to do with employees, and I'm not totally, and I understand that you have a grievance but I really wish that you would put it on and put it through so that we can go into closed session and listen to this in a certain way.
That's fine. It's my
Okay.
understanding that the council doesn't care about uninsured, unlicensed people because that's a state issue. Just clear it up for me.
Well, I mean,
Typically, the Contractors Registration Act is enforced at the state level. We don't regulate who gets a license and who doesn't get a license.
Okay, so if somebody's robbing a bank and you see, you're not a cop, so don't stop it, right?
That's a little bit different issue.
Okay, I understand. Okay, I understood.
well, Jules, or I should say, they register, they come in and get their license here,
Yeah, but
contractors,
I'm talking about the state contractor's license.
state contractor's license, but don't they need work?
In order to do work on a house, yes, you have to pull a permit from our construction department.
But a
And
permit's different.
a permit's different, but don't you need a license to get a permit like this?
I, as a homeowner-
Unless it's, as a homeowner
A
can.
homeowner
I get
can
that.
get a license.
But if you're doing work on a house as a contractor, and the homeowner does not get the permit, you need a license,
That's a different story.
correct? Well, I don't know what,
A valid person has to pull the permit. It could be the homeowner, it could be a licensed contractor.
I understand.
Correct, but if you read on the consumer right there, that they're not allowed to do work to make profit, only for a relative, of course. And also, I'd just like to say, I did report unlicensed, uninsured work being done on Pennsylvania Ave. Electric, air conditioning, columns being taken down, floor joists being taken up, lead paint off the walls with, I reported this already. I thought it would be quietly, but obviously, you can't be quiet if you're friendly with them. I don't know what else to do. I'm just doing, I consider myself a half-decent citizen here. So I'm just trying to tell you guys, I thought there's something happened. But if bureaucracy gets in the middle of this, it's just crazy to me.
Well, I think you need to meet with the manager and maybe the solicitor and see if there's anything.
When I talked to the manager, just to let you know,
Happy to.
I reported about the manager. He also told me about a boat I had out front that they let me go on because they had a meeting here about my sailboat out front of my
Well,
place.
I think that's where you got to go, Mike. Okay?
Well, by the way, the sailboat's gone, just so everybody can be happy.
All right, thank you. Does anybody else wish to address